Well, this is an emergency broadcast because this is news that no one will care about in 2 days. Everyone will forget about it because it can't be news anymore. That's right. Facebook has gotten rid of all of their news feeds, and I'm not going to be attacking them because as one of the biggest cucks on Twitter, Alex McKinnon, go look at a picture of him in your spare time. Tell me that that man wouldn't have a handshake where you'd be wondering, am I shaking mucus right now? Classic mainstream media cuck. Hasn't done anything good in years. He finally broke that spell by doing the stock standard thing that every single one of them do, which is just put my name with all these little like different numbers or different little hashtags or whatever to try and hide it. Georgies. Dude, we see them. You're not Harold Houdini. You're not the guys that broke the German code in World War II. I'm pretty sure Esches have a better way of communicating with each other with Pig Latin. That is harder to decipher than that. Just direct message each other like you normally do anyway, bitch about me there. Because now you're just getting called out, you absolute beta, but he wrote that Friendly Geordies is now the biggest news channel in Australia. And I don't ever see myself as news, but it's about time. He is right. I think I am the last breaking comedy site left standing. Finally, the recognition I deserve. I'm bigger than Murdoch, baby! Yeah, in all seriousness, this is very sad for Michael West, but everybody else, I was always really against internet censorship, and still it's started to attack people like Alex McKinnon. Now, all of a sudden, I'm really on board with it. I don't know about you guys, like this video if you are as well, but it is really satisfying to see all of these AFR shills and all of these Murdoch hacks writing furiously on Twitter, I'm on the third page of Google. Well, welcome to the real world, you Now you're lower than us. And Google's being very China about it as well, saying, very sorry about this, but we're just doing a little bit of testing. That's all it is, yes. But I think that this is just the new reality, or at least I hope it is, because, and let me just explain what is happening to anybody that doesn't know, which is predominantly going out on YouTube, so I'm pretty sure everybody does, because that's the only thing that people on YouTube care about is YouTube being silenced. But pretty much, Murdoch has been pushing behind the scenes for years the federal government to force Google, Facebook, all the social media giants to pay for their news. So it really is just another example of the Libs saying that they're free market when really their slogan should be Liberal Party, crony capitalism every time. Because they have, and this is amazing because they have been sitting there, rocking a hard place. Morrison, just imagine him on a frying pan thinking, do I jump on the fire or do I just sit here and get my ass fried? That is what has been happening his entire prime ministership. Because Facebook and Google have obviously been behind the scenes saying, you don't touch this. If you do, we will make an example of Australia. And then, when all of this went through, and then they started legislating it, Josh Frydenberg comes out and says, no, I just had a very nice discussion with Mark Zuckerberg. You can't have a nice discussion with Mark Zuckerberg. Look at him. He's an alien. You probably didn't even have a discussion with him. He probably telepathically communicated with you and made it look like a simulation where his mouth was moving. But he obviously stabbed him in the back. Eat shit, Josh. Now you know how Malcolm Turnbull feels. And he was pretty much, the long and the short of it is that Facebook, as a warning shot, I think, to the rest of the planet, as a don't you dare try what Australia is doing. And I don't think that they will, by the way, because Australia really is just a pariah. We've got an entire video coming out about this, that Australia now is more looked down upon than Saudi Arabia. Just absolute, cave hermits of the planet under Scott Morrison, a man of God. So he likes being in that cave and being alone and probably thinks that he's still on God's side because he's the only one that sees it as it is. Even Davos, he went to Davos, and that is the real Bilderberg group, and all of them were sitting there saying, what, we want to pay more tax. And he was the only one standing up being like, not on my watch. Nah, you're going to continue avoiding laws. Okay? You got that? Just an insane man. I think that this is just a warning shot to the rest of the planet that don't you dare try and regulate us like Australia is. So they're really making an example of Australia. I hope that they continue to do it for purely selfish reasons. As now, as I pointed out, I'm the biggest, and I'm not going to say it because I'm not a news source, am I? I just make jokes about the news. Just like Jon Stewart, except Australian, buy a brush shirt. And you know what else? It's going to be even harder with Alex McKinnon, who has no audience at all to retaliate. It's even going to be harder now. But I think that you're a shit and you're very ugly. Anyway, my editor is shaking his head because he knows he can't do edits. Yes! Invincible! Damn, Friendly Johnny's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on air. With Professor Gaskin. But yeah, go buy a brush shirt. That's the only thing that's serious about this. But the thing that I am actually very upset about is just, look, Michael West got really shirked on this. A third of his audience is on Facebook. He did not get a little sweetheart deal like the big giants did. So the Murdoch Press, Costello's cum rag. I don't think the ABC was involved. Sucks shit. Deprived of even more resources. God, I feel haughty today. But they all got little sweetheart deals behind because Google was just saying, yeah, they were threatening to leave. They were threatening that they were just going to shut the search engine down entirely. But then they thought, no, we'll lose too much of our market share in Australia to speedypete.com. And they decided to stay. Good for them. But Scott Morrison now is faced with a real conundrum. Because you know what's actually happened here? And this is why I'm excited about it. I think, for the first time since before World War II, and way before World War II, there is a duopoly of power that is emerging in the political landscape. You know how in the US, there'll be a Democrat in the White House, max 8 years, and then there'll be a Republican in the White House, max 8 years, and then the public gets sick of them, moves them around. What you'll understand if you come to my new stand-up show, is that is all because of the media titans behind kind of just grappling for power like they're rock'em sock'em robots. But in Australia, it is just a rock'em sock'em robot versus just the blue stick. But the red stick here, sorry, I was thinking about the US. The red stick. There is no guy to sit there and punch. Who has the Labor Party got because of me? And let's be honest, I'm probably a liability to them. It'd probably be better if I wasn't there. That's all they have in their corner. Can you imagine how insane that is? Can you think of any other quote-unquote democratic nation on earth where the media is that skewed? Even in Britain, there are some pro-Labor newspapers. There isn't in Australia. They really don't have anything. Everyone's going to go, oh, what about the ABC? Let's go through it again. Who funds the ABC entirely? Scott Morrison, you f***ing idiot. But so the entire media landscape has been completely skewed in the Liberals, and that's why the Liberals here, as opposed to in the US where power shifts between the two major parties, I guess on an 8-year rotation, here, the Liberals can be in for 12 years, 23 years, nothing changes. Then the Labor Party sneaks in, like just, I don't know how. I really, to this day, I don't understand. But they're able to do that every now and then. And look, I really do think that it is just something to do with the fact that businesses think, okay, we've taken too much from the economy now. Now we actually need a government there as opposed to corporate consultants that we can exploit until the economy is set again, and then we can just start harvesting. I think that that's the reason that they let them in, say, in the 80s or whatever. But up until that point, it's just been a completely one-sided monopoly of information. I think that what is happening right now, and I talk about this on my Friend of Joy's podcast a lot, is that finally there's a bit of a power balance happening here where you have on one side Fairfax and the Murdoch Press, and on the other side you now have Google and Facebook that have the shits, and they want to set an example. And I'm pretty sure, I think I remember hearing this from somebody that I was talking to, just some inside staffer. I can't confirm this, but I heard that one of the first acts that Joe Biden did when he came in was ring up Scott Morrison and say, what the f*** is this bargaining code shit. Because his boss is Google. That's how big this is getting. And so if they want to make an example of Australia, they might actually be in the position to do some damage. And when the Labor Party loses an election, it's just really what's happening there is a super majority that the Liberals have in the regions, and the Labor Party just has kind of a bit of a majority when it comes to the metropolitan area. So really there's just a couple of seats that they need to win to gain government. And if they're getting buried in the Google search, maybe they can actually swing it. Maybe there is enough of a shift that we can have a Labor government. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden, when all of this is really heating up and Google is spending upteenth amount of money behind the scenes to lobby the government to not do something, to actually be the quote-unquote party of free markets, instead of just like real Soviet-style intervention of you have to pay. They really are just that, aren't they? They're just Putin in a bruiser outfit. Remember me, motherfucker? That's what they're doing right now. They were trying to get them to stop doing that. And I think that if this continues and they're really just flexing and showing their muscles to try and scare them, I think that Anthony Albanese will start rising in the polls more because they can manipulate in the algorithm what people see. And if they're just putting in even neutral articles at the top of the search, well, things are going to start changing quickly. The one poor thing about all of this, though, is I do feel sorry for Michael West. So make sure that you go look at his webpage from now on, because he can't obviously post on Facebook. So he's just 66% of his audience is still there. Good on you, Westy. But as I was saying to him, because he was going, this is just a disaster, Jordan. I really feel like the rug has been taken out from underneath me. Because in case you haven't seen my interview with him, I'm pretty sure that he's one of the members of the Rolling Stones with his accent. But he was saying to me, what do I do? And you know what my response was? Have you tried TikTok? Wouldn't that be awesome? Michael West, one of the biggest names up there, and just all of a sudden he's just in the hype house in LA, just be like, dude, you're popping. Let's do it. Come on, everybody down in the comments. If you want to see Michael West start a TikTok, come on, let's get the hashtag going as the only breaking comedy source in the country. West TikTok for West. TikTok, hashtag TikTok for West. I'm sure, see, this is what's really good normally when we're not doing these extemporaneously. We have time to think about these. There's probably something better out there. But that's what we're going with. Hashtag TikTok for West. I've got drunk with power. Make sure you get a brush shirt. Oh, and also, just as a quick shout out as well. Look, I think that really, out of all of this, and also because I think that it'll cause people that are from independent Australia and Michael West to kind of just expand their business model a little more, make it just a little less boomery, I suppose. This actually could work out really well for them. Make sure that you go check out his YouTube page as well, because I know that most of you don't read. That's why you're watching me. But I'm willing to share the competition. He does occasionally do YouTube videos, so you should just go check them out and, I don't know, sub, like... What else do the kids say these days? Press the notification bell. Do that with my channel as well, all right? Stop shirking me. And now my editors... And, oh yeah, and also, if you go to Patreon, No, look, we've got enough shit. Look at this. Just get the brochure.
This isn't a Patreon video because it's unedited trash, is what I'm saying.
It is unedited trash.
Yes. So this isn't a Patreon video. You say it.
You heard what he said off camera? I'm sure maybe he'll put in subtitles. He probably won't, because as he said off camera, this is unedited trash. And we also go check out, and we'll be putting the link in the bottom, but my mate just did this sick rap about Kevin Rudd, and he put a lot of effort into it as well. So you write very nice comments to him, but I think it's called King Kev Says. And you know, if you need just a quick little history lesson, what better way to do it, eh? Juice Media doesn't do raps anymore. So they're taking that from them. Just news. No, we can't say news. Otherwise, you just won't get any searches. Parodying Kevin Rudd. Whoa, down with it. Ooh, edgy. All right. Well, anyway, I'm out of here. But just as the quick takeaway points, I actually think that in terms of democracy in Australia, because my side is getting a bit of an advantage, I think this is actually going to turn out all right. But yeah, look, obviously in general, censorship is not a good idea, but what do you expect Facebook to do in this case? They are a private company and they are being, unfairly legislated against. But said enough to make sure that I maintain my position as the best quote-unquote breaking comedy site. If I have, then that's great. Like this video, make sure that you subscribe, friendlyjordies.com. See you around. Check out the link below of my friend's sick rap. Well, that's the best video we've ever done.
Please share and comment below. Comment.